So how many times have you asked yourself, when's a good time to post on Instagram? Should you post in the morning, in the evening? I know that's literally the number one question most of you guys ask me all the time is like, Jen, when's a good time to post? Should I be posting, in the morning or in the evening or at lunch or at dinner? And like, there's always this massive disconnect with when's a good time. And it stresses people out. And for me, being stressed out over having to figure out the best time to post on Instagram is a no-no. Like, I just don't deal with it. I don't do it. It's not my jam. So stick around because in this video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the best time to post or the 3 steps that I like to consider when I'm posting on Instagram. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm your host, Jen Morilla, and thank you for being here. I have helped over hundreds of entrepreneurs build online businesses using social media, so you are in good hands today. The number one question I get asked from you guys most of the time is, Jen, when is a good time to post? And for me, when that happens, or when we start asking ourselves that kind of question, it's unnecessary stress that we don't need to have because posting on Instagram as a business is already stressful. So it's a no-no. So you wanna make sure you stick around to the very end of this video because today I'm gonna talk to you about the best times to post on Instagram for your business if you're trying to grow your Instagram. We're gonna look at some analytics and we're gonna dive into a little bit of a strategy so that we know what we can do not only to be in touch with your current followers, but also build engagement and grow outside of your current followers, okay? So let's get into it. The first thing I want you guys to consider is, let's say you don't have a following. Let's say you literally have 0 followers and you're like, Jen, when's a good time to post? So the first thing I'm gonna ask you to consider is who is your client, right? Who is your niche? Who is your ideal client? You have to know, or at least you should know who your ideal client is. And if you don't, then you gotta answer that question first because that is the most important question. Because when you know who your ideal client is or who your actual customer is, then you're able to actually figure out when is the best time for them to see your posts, right? So for example, if you know that your person works a 9 to 5, chances are that you might wanna post something either early in the morning or maybe during their lunch break or at the end of the day when they're leaving work around 5 o'clock, right? As a blogger, every post that I usually post is always in the morning. It goes out super early in the morning between 8 to 10 a.m., no later than that, and I make sure that that happens. And the reason I do that is because when I'm blogging, right, my audience is usually sitting in public transportation on a bus, the same thing with YouTube videos, right? So consider the same thing for your Instagram account, right? They're scrolling when they are sitting on a bus or they're about to start their day kind of thing. Because of COVID, I'm sure things have changed, but I wouldn't justify that as like, oh my God, that's the only time that they're gonna see. Like, obviously not, because people are spending more time at home. They're probably likelier to see your stuff anytime. So if you're just starting out, you kind of have the upper hand because yes, you should adjust it to what you think your audience would be looking or when you think your audience would be looking online. But for the most part, you have the upper hand because you get to test and really try and see what actually works for your audience, right? So that's definitely something to consider if you're just starting out in that perspective. Now, the next thing to consider is if you already have an audience, guys, you should be looking at your analytics. Like, I love numbers and the numbers do not lie, people. Let me tell you, you should be looking at the back end of your Instagram. So I'm gonna hop into my phone right now and I'm gonna show you exactly where you can find your analytics and what to look for and how to know when is the best time for you and your audience. So this is what your Instagram page should look like, right? And you go to Insights here. And now they've actually changed this whole preface recently. So if you've updated the app software to the most recent, this is what it should look like, right? So you'll get the overviews, you'll get the content interactions, and you'll get total followers, right? And then it'll actually also break down like which stories are more engaged than others. So I'm gonna give you an example, right? So for account reached, you click on it and it does it from the last 7 days, right? So it breaks out the most interactive days and impressions that you've had. And then it also tells you which story on that day did the best. In order for you guys to see the best times for you to post on your page, you go to the total follower count and you usually scroll all the way to the bottom, and Instagram's Insights actually has it scrolled so that you have the days of the week and broken down into the hours and what the most popular times are. So for example, today is Saturday. I would just click here and I can tell you that my most like important times to post on a Saturday would be like between, I would say 12 and 3. But if I were to do a Monday or a Tuesday, let's see. So it's pretty much the same time actually. So we have from 12 to 3 is the best time for Tuesdays, the best time for Wednesdays, and then even the best times for Monday, right? Anytime I would say after 3 o'clock, not that it's not worth me posting, but my follower count won't actually actually see the majority of my post as they would if I posted during these specific times. So that's definitely something to consider. Something to really consider when you're looking at these analytics is that these numbers are for people that are already following you, which means that obviously it's a good way to create engagement and continue building that connection and engagement with your current followers. But it doesn't tell you anything about potentially getting new followers, right? So something to really consider here, if you're trying to grow your audience, you want to make sure that yes, you're using the optimal times that the analytics are suggesting, but you're also using the extra tips and tricks that it takes to build an audience. Now, the third thing you want to consider when you're trying to build that engagement and grow your followers on Instagram, especially in 2020, is consistency, ladies and gentlemen. I've said this through and through. You can watch all my videos and I'm constantly telling you like consistency, consistency, consistency. Now, I will be the first one to tell you that it's very difficult for me to be consistent on Instagram, except for my stories, but that's a whole other video. It's difficult for me to post because I am posting so many other platforms and I do YouTube. So it's just very different for me. But the consistency is the key when you are trying to grow that engagement on Instagram and grow your following on Instagram. So how do you do that? There are third-party providers that you can utilize, such as Planoly and Later.com. I haven't used Later.com, but I've heard amazing things about Later. So I'm excited to start doing that because my team and I are going to start implementing Later. But we have used Planoly. I like Planoly. Planoly is cheaper than Later. So I do recommend it if you're starting out, you don't want to make that big of an investment and you just want to kind of get used to it. Now, the thing about these platforms is they tell you the best time to post. It's pretty much the same thing as your analytics, but the analytics on the Instagram page. But a thing to consider here is that it helps you build consistency because you can schedule posts in advance. So it's definitely something that I highly recommend if you're trying to grow your Instagram or trying to build that engagement if you have a business in 2020, because we all know that consistency is key. Now, let's go back to what I said before about being able to look at your analytics and only know that that is for the current followers, right? If you're looking to grow your followers and you're really thinking about the best time to post, my recommendation is that you utilize the analytics that your platform is already telling you that's the best time, assuming that that is your ideal client and you're not trying to shift your Instagram or anything like that, and change up the hashtags. Remember, you guys, like hashtags are super important. You can check out this video where I talk more about how to use hashtags for your business and the best ones to use and how to actually use them and how to find them. So check that out in this video.